stabilizer, theorist, or catalyst. We've got a visual icon there, so this is the sort of the freedom to move, spring into action. This is about sort of stability and having a foundation and a structure. This is about questioning and competence and autonomy and control. And this is about life as a journey. So if you look at these four cards, could you pick two that sort of appeal to you above the other two? Have a look and see what you think.
I can relate to all of them.
Yeah, so tell me what words might appeal. What words are attractive to you on some of these cards?
Make an impact.
So tell me about what make an impact means to you.
Because I like to make a difference, and yeah, I think that's it. Make an impact to other people, not an impact on myself.
Okay.
And I like to help other people.
So give me an example of when you made an impact and helped other people.
I suppose just recently.
Yes, I was thinking that. It was just this last week.
Just last week, teaching people who work with very, very poor people to teach teachers how to wash hands. As simple as that. That could save thousands of lives just by that one teaching how to wash hands and how to use that in a curriculum. Yeah.
All right, so that's a really recent, great example of making an impact. Any other words that particularly appeal to you?
I think, I like to think. I mean, I like to, the theory, why, tell me why are you doing that? Let's examine why you're doing that. So I like those sorts of things too, because you talk about theory, I like to talk about theorists as opposed to temperament, if you know what I mean. So temperament's a new concept, a different concept from what I'm used to. Yeah.
So tell me a bit more about what you understand by theorists then.
Okay, so I'm probably looking at developmental theorists, so I'm looking at Piaget, Erikson, Maslow, Ainsworth, Vygotsky. I could go on.
All the sort of child development.
All the child development, because that's my understanding, and that's why I have trouble with this sort of thing, is simply because I'm always trying to get my metacognition going and dump things into those sorts of things. So
sort of how they fit into.
How they fit in. So my brain is working like that.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
So other words that might appeal to you on these cards?
I like being prepared.
Tell me more about that.
Like, I suppose simply because I manage a college, everything has to be ready, has to be organised. It's not my passion, I wouldn't say, but I have to do it. It's like,
so it's something you can do.
I can do, but I'm
not necessarily your passion.
Not my passion, and not natural, I don't think.
So if you were to sort of try and organise these cards in most likely that animates you and you're passionate about, to sort of less passionate about, that you can do but it's not naturally your driving force. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I would think I like the adventure and the reality experience. That I have to be the hands-on.
You have to be hands-on.
I have to be hands-on. I have to be hands-on. I suppose when I went through university, all these lecturers were doing all this theory, why, and I understand why and I can relate to why, but that doesn't inform people on the job how to actually do the job. So my passion is to teach people to take that theory and put it into practice, but to understand the theory at the same time, which is why I like the theorist side of it, because I can actually apply, I can tell you why you can do anything in an early childhood environment, and I can apply that straight back to theory, any theory. I can do that all the time. Bores students to buggery, but that's the truth. I can do that, and that's my reality, because there's no point in doing something unless you understand why you do it, but it has to be practical.
Has to be practical. So it seems like that's
they're my two drivers.
And then there's sort of that there.
Yeah.
What else do you identify with here? So we've heard the sort of hands-on.
Troubleshooting. Oh my God, I am the troubleshooter.
Oh, give me an example.
Oh, my boss. I have these bosses who come up with these magnificent ideas, and it's like, oh, we need to do this in, well, say India, where I've just been. We need to do this in India. I go, oh my God, no. No, I can't do this, I can't do this. Then give me 30 seconds and I've already worked out a plan. This is how it's going to happen, and this is how we make it happen. And my brain is already going, but my brain's gone over here, and it's over here, and it's over here, and I can't put into words all that I've already arranged in my head. Because I need one idea, and I can make it flow.
Make it flow. And
yeah.
Sounds again in a very practical way.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be done methodically, and so that you can produce what needs to be done, and you can produce what needs to be done. You can reproduce it. So it has to be, if you're going to do it, you have to do it right, ethically, morally correct, and be reproducible. But my brain is functioning. It's popping. And I suppose that's part of this theorist stuff, is my brain is already jumping all the way around. Yeah, definitely. So I like that. I'm alert to my surroundings. I'm very much pick up people's body language. I very much pick up, and I take, I've had a discussion with someone last night, instant likes and instant dislikes to people, and I don't change my mind. Absolutely. Just something I don't like, and that's it, finished, end of product. It's terrible. I try to stop it. I've actually admitted I have changed my mind on one person. Last night.
So tell me, how do you identify with the phrase "seize the day"?
Seize the day is great, because you've got to make it work. You've got to function. You've got to make it work, because if you don't, you've lost the day. If you don't seize it, it's gone. You can't go back. You can't go back and do it again. So if you don't do practical and realistic and hands-on things that day, you can't get that chance again. You can't, I suppose, go back to my early childhood. If you walk into a room with lots of little kids and you're in a really bad mood, leave it at the door, because you can't give those children back that day. You can't give them back. If you've been in a bad mood that day, you've actually changed those children, and maybe for life. One bad word can change a child for life. Yeah, so you get back to theory. You can see I'm jumping, because that's my passion.
So at this point, I put it, okay, so the good working hypothesis for improviser, and I would probably at this point start, actually I would go in a different sequence from my that we planned the day, because I would actually now have gone into the cognitive processes. Any idea why I might normally have jumped into cognitive processes at this point instead of interaction style?
Because you work with extroverted sensing and extroverted perception, which is coming forward from listening to you.
And the introverted feeling. I heard,
Big introvert.
big introverted feeling there. So can we give Chris a round of applause?
Hey.
Thoughts or concepts about that? Thoughts or ideas about that process?
That was really good, because to me you're multi-talented, and you're very, you've got a lot of the mental cognitive processes going, not the ordinary brain.
And that's one of the advantages, or the advantages and disadvantages as people mature, is that we can access some of those other cognitive processes that are actually, it can be quite hard, because people become much rounder, which is why I think a ranking of temperaments is so much better than your list and nothing else. So the ranking process is very helpful for someone who has an improviser temperament, because your unconscious is saying you have all four.
I can actually see myself in all four.
And I like that unravelling process that you did, because when you first started, there was nothing that you particularly could actually. So that was kind of like, well, where do you go from there? How do you get the party started or the conversation started when you're giving nothing at that first stage? So it was good the way that you said, okay, well, let's move down to words. What words come out?
And then you kept asking for examples all the time,
Yeah.
straight away as soon as you said something about your experience.
To me, you're improvising theory. Other people's theory, you didn't want to drink it up.
No,
You want to use
it's
it.
great insight. That's exactly what's going on. Yeah, and making it practical and real. And that's the improviser's gift. It's often about making things that can be quite esoteric and impractical time orientation. Could you hear the time orientation?
Mm.
Here and now. It was very present. And, you know, we're lucky that we had a conversation last night about, you know, making an impact on the work that you've just done in India, because that was, but it's still...
It makes no difference. I could have done exactly the same conversation in here, because it doesn't make a difference where you do it.
Yeah.
You can influence. If you can make one child's life better, your life's worthwhile.
So, Susan, just here, obviously this is the order that we've come out with. Would you say then that will usually come out when it comes to your MBTI, when it comes down to that would be a one type that would come through with that particular order, or does that come out with perhaps 2 or 3 different options?
Clarify the question for me.
So for me, I know that, you know, that my order would be different, and then that particular order would equal ENFP, for example.
Yeah.
So would this or only come out to
in
one?
fact, this sequence was slightly a surprise to me. I would have thought that this would come out.
Well, I'm just, because that was going to be my question is,
I probably would have gone
explore that a bit more.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's to me the enlightening, the enhancing relationships. All that's really important. But the way in my things that I value at this point in my life, is applying theory to reality. Okay, because to value what I do, I have to put it against a theoretical background. Otherwise, it's not value. There's no value space for me. And I suppose I like if you put that up there, that would probably come in here. If I was working on the floor in an early childhood because of the empathy, it would probably go more like that.
Here's a contextual thinking for your improviser. So based on a different context, let me reorder the sequence.
Yeah. So the reality is praising empathy, counselling. Facilitating growth, that's very, very high if I'm in my other hat. Depends on my hat.
Depends on your hat.
But also your theory is that a lot around people. You're putting the theory
Absolutely.
around people and their growth and development into practice. So it's almost as though, those two are so interlinked, aren't they, in the way you're using them?
Yeah.
But also too, an improviser needs many tools, many materials.
Absolutely,
Otherwise,
absolutely. Yeah.
You've done all that homework on the theories.
Because of your experience.
And
Because
there's
you
a great
play with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you saw the cards in action then, in this context, I would do this. You see that stayed.
Yeah. And that's it.
And just watching someone do that, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's a very good question, Danny, I think, because you do often come out with
Yes.
a very good idea from just that 1-2 combination.
Yes.
So, for example, as an ESTJ, my stabiliser temperament is number 1, but that doesn't include my dominant function.
Right.
As an ESTJ, my dominant function is thinking. So my debate on temperament could very easily be stabiliser theorist. Because theorist has got the T, which appeals to my thinking dominant temperament. But actually, as I've grown to know myself, I can put the stabiliser before the theorist.
Yes.
Because that need for security, grounding, is so core to me. Even though I enjoy that theorist, questioning, logic, competence, mastery, but it does come second.
Well, I suppose that's the same as an ENFP. You know, there's very much this, but in the end, that has to come from
does that.
That
would be the exact order.
That's the exact order that I think I like right there. Just nailed me there.
As a sports lover, I'd love to go upstairs
Yeah,
and go back to the start where I thought it was lovely the way you were honouring the client. That first dilemma of I can see myself in everything. Oh God, here we go.
I know.
Yeah.
And of course, in my brain, whenever I hear that, I thought improviser. 9 times out of 10, improviser.
But I love the way you went through the first 3, but with Catalyst, it kind of got tucked towards you. And it was almost like it got left behind in the conversation. And I wondered if you actually asked, what about a word from this one?
Yeah.
That said, the energy And Chris was very much towards.
Yeah, and I think
So did that
if I'd have
actually
said all
matter?
on from here, I think we'd have got exactly that conversation, which is, oh, actually, yes, when I'm facilitating, here I am right there. Yeah.
And the beauty is in the conversation.
It is.
You know, it's creating the situation and the environment when you can have the conversation is the important thing with using the cards.
And so that took
Was it memorable for you, Chris? You were
Yeah,
into that,
yeah, I mean, yes, the reality is it's more memorable now, because if you'd asked me, well, you did last night, what are you? I went, That's reality. That's reality. Is because I can't, at the moment, with the theory and temperament, I can't use that. I can't use that, or my understanding isn't deep enough to use that as part of my toolkit that I use.
Yeah.
And it's not, I write learning materials for whole courses, and it's not impacted into that, so I don't have to research and do the theory on it, so therefore it's not in that toolkit.
Yeah.
So that's why my brain can't cope with having to do that and that at the same time. It's just too difficult at the moment.
So, would you use these tools in a group?
So,
And if so, how?
yes, you can do. I think they're better one-on-one, although certainly you could use them for sort of practical application. I tend to use a slightly different process, whether there's a facilitator guide for it when I'm guiding people through in a group.
Would you like have these as posters? Or?
I'd have these as posters, and certainly when people are, oh, I'm not quite sure, and where do I fit, there'd be and I'll often do just this in front of the group. I'll sort of say, okay, there's one person, and let's just talk through this process with the person.
Working with 2s and 3s can work quite well if you've got a small team and you sit around a table like this and describe it and think, oh, I'm this, I'm that. You know, that can be very good with some teams. And
Because
also,
someone can say, oh, well, that's me, and then that's you,
Yeah.
and again, we've got that physical movement.
and they can, discuss, are you really that? Are you really?
Yeah.
You know.
So they get to understand each other, which they hadn't understood
Yeah.
before, which is really
But
important.
it's interactive and it's engaging, and if you have the cards, then you can enlarge them to posters. Just
Right,
take them to
okay.
a printer.
And you're happy for that to
Yeah,
happen? Yeah, I was
because
gonna ask that.
the IP for that comes with the product.
Any other thoughts about that temperament process? Questions?
Just to mention, there's more information on the back of the card.
Yes, so the front of the card we tend to use for, I tend to use just for getting to best fit. I tend to use some of this on the back for the more in-depth coaching, although if someone really is between two, then that could be quite useful for the information about what motivates you, challenges you, best learning environment, that sort of thing.
And also, when you're working with small groups, you can just highlight one of those paragraphs on the back, especially as people love talking about their challenges rather than what they're good at. They go straight for what stresses them and that sort of thing. And just to have people read out the paragraphs that suit them, and then have a discussion about that. This really drives me nuts. Oh, well, that's something else drives you crackers. How can we make the situation in our team better with this new understanding?
So we're ready to jump in and look at how we use interaction styles?
Yes.
Yeah.